It is Monday morning on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here. Patrick Reusse with me as usual. Plenty of stuff to get to today, Patrick, but I think we're going to start with the team that's actually not playing right now, the Twins, because you and I have not talked yet about kind of the bombshell, I would guess. I would say I did not see this coming. Maybe you can correct me if you saw this coming, but the poll ads putting the team up for sale late last week and kind of where we are now. And you ripped the fans the other day. You said mediocre fans, you're getting what you deserve, kind of stuff. I like the
Well,
take.
yes, I'm saying the Twins are just as all in as their fan base right now
There you
this
go.
year. They're all proud of themselves because 5,000 people from the North Loop wandered over and watched the playoffs last year with no intention of ever returning. They just came over. Hey, there's a game going on. Let's go over there. And it was kind of fun for 3 days. And then all of a sudden they're gone. They're not coming back. They're going to whatever's trendy someplace. It was not like this big outpouring of fantastic enthusiasm among hardcore baseball fans. And we found that out. We found out the carryover enthusiasm when the Twins announced the upper deck would not be open in April because nobody was going to be there. You had the Dodgers and the Yankees here. Now it's not prime time in April. I don't think you drew 20,000 for any one of those games, did you?
No.
So this idea that we had this big carryover of enthusiasm, and if anybody tells me once again that it was a generational, they're coming off a generational season. They won 101 games in 2019, you morons. They set a world record for home runs, and then they happened to get beat by a really good Yankee team in 3 games. That was a lot more impressive than what took place last year. And there's a lot of also all those teams in the 2000s that won the division title that ended up having to play the Yankees. And then the team that, in 2006, Liriano got hurt and they got swept by Oakland. That was a really good team. But they had really good teams in that decade.
Yes.
They just didn't win a playoff game. And the fact that everybody got just a generational season, I like to take people and grab, the teachers in the Catholic school used to grab you by the ear. I'd like to grab by the ear and tell them that they're morons. But anyway, I'm not, they screwed up. Sure. I think the biggest screw up was, not doing anything at the trading deadline when they looked
100%.
good. They should have went and got somebody. There's no doubt about it. But this whole idea that we're this hardcore group of fans, coming off that season, now, it was a big screw up as we've talked about, it was a big screw up to announce you were cutting payroll.
Yes.
Just sign it and don't say anything. Say, well, we couldn't find the guys we wanted. Okay, something like that. So anyhow, it's, but we have really overrated ourselves if you read the comments on Twin Stories, it's the same 12 people complaining about that the poll ads got a free stadium, and the poll ads have put more money in their cute little outdoor stadium than the Ziggy has in his. And I love the fact that Ziggy is such a great owner. He ripped you stiffs off for tens of millions of dollars of unnecessary seat licenses.
Yes.
He did not need that money. He stole your money. And now he's the greatest owner of all time because he's, he pays, every team in the NFL pays to the salary cap.
Yeah.
And he's still making $250 million a year. So, don't feel sorry for Ziggy and think that he's this great owner and the poll ads are these cheapos. So, they've had screw ups. But if you look back at the history of this franchise, Mike, this hardcore Twins fan base, Calvin might have been ready to move in 74.
Mm-hmm.
He was, kind of threatening. I remember I wrote a column as a piece as a beat writer that, there were rumors they were going to send him out to Seattle. because they wanted to settle the lawsuit. 84, Harvey had his buyout. We had contraction, and we damn near lost them 3 different times. So this idea that, and it wasn't because the fans were. I'm not blaming anybody in the late 90s for not showing up after
Right.
8 straight losing years, but don't pretend like we're St. Louis, and this hardcore fan base. So anyway, that was my whole deal, and I thought I'd take a little shot at them to jack them up a little bit.
Change the narrative. Well,
Yeah.
How surprised?
I'm not saying they're heroes, to say the least, the bull ads, but some guy, what really got me is some guy tweeted out that he was out at Lakewood Cemetery, and that the Carl Pohlad and Paul Wellstone gravestones are very near each other, and Paul Wellstone had all these flowers, and Carl didn't have any flowers.
Okay.
Who would come out and put flowers on Carl Pohlad's grave, you morons? So this is I think we were desperate to bash the Pohlads.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we reached a great level of desperation to make them into the most terrible human beings ever. Now, to get to the fact why they're selling, I gotta think, deep in their hearts, they look around. They're worried about the future of regional TV and how many years it's going to take to get back to what you were making. They're worried about a place that doesn't draw that many people. And I mean, you've already maxed it out on what you can charge people almost. And, obviously some of the heat they were taking, but I think that it's, plus commercial real estate isn't the greatest business to be in right now. They're, United Properties, I know a lot of their stuff is apartments and stuff like that, but commercial real estate is, if you own 4 buildings downtown, 3 of them are in receivership. So, so that's they just probably decided to cash out. So
it could just be a business decision, right? Like you said, I mean, this could be the top of market for baseball right now, right? Like,
yes. I mean, let's face it, baseball has got a crisis as far as the age of their viewers. The young, their age of their audience is, every time we run our obit section, you got 85% of them are baseball fans that are in there, I mean, baseball's got. I mean, they did the speed up rules. They've done some good things, but I can't imagine paying 1.3 or 1.4 billion to have a team in this market. But I guess that might be the going price. I don't know.
Do we think they'll be able to sell then? I mean, they could want to sell the team. Someone's going to buy it. People like owning teams. It's just good. I mean. It was who would be the next owner of this team? Even I'm trying to,
that's the if it's local, I don't know who it is. Some people have mentioned my pal Marty Davis, who would be a fantastic owner, but I don't know if they have that kind of money. That Davis family's done very well in various businesses, but that's a big hit. But Marty'd be fun because he might be like Ray Kroc. He might be calling up, telling the fans how rotten they're playing. Right. Marty's a very amped up guy, so I know him well, and he's, he and I wouldn't say we're buddies, but I know him well, and he'd be fun. But I have no idea who's interested in town. The idea that. The fun would be if the 3 guys trying to buy the Timberwolves would decide to buy the Twins instead. We'd have all our problems taken care of, right?
That's what I said to Lavelle the other day. I was like, why don't these guys shift their focus to baseball? But I have a feeling the NBA values are going up a little bit faster right now.
Oh God, no kidding. Yeah, I mean, if you're paying, I mean, they're going for 3 minimum right now. That's why they're getting the deal on this, to say the least. Now they got Bloomberg in there, though. They can buy both of them.
There you go. Get that Bloomberg money.
Bloomberg can write out a check for both of them. Wouldn't have to worry about it. So
there you go.
Anyway, it'll be Phil Miller did a really good job. I think obviously Phil got tipped off it was coming, because I think we posted that story about 10 minutes after they announced what was made. But Phil did a really good job, and the idea that I mean, he just, it's a very thorough thing of what's going on here.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and but he pointed out that sometimes it's taken like 6, 8, 10 months to make these sales. Right. It's not going to happen like Tuesday, I don't think. Although you got to think because they announced it that the feelers are out there, right?
I would think so.
And it's known that it was known before this that it was for sale.
Well, and
within a circle,
Well, and they said they made this decision in the summer. That was interesting to me. That was in the release. They said that they came to this conclusion in the summer. So while all the angst is happening, all the collapse is happening, they're being tight-lipped and they know they're going to sell this team. That was interesting to me too. But
yeah, I mean, I don't trust everything that people tell me either. So
no, that's true.
But obviously, if they were vacillating on it in any way, all the heat that they ended up taking had to have a lot to do with it. So,
yep.
But this year is. People forget that we weren't exactly packing the place when they were the surprise team of baseball. For goodness sakes, they did go in the tank. There's no doubt about it, but. I don't know. Does getting one good pitcher and on August 2nd save them from going in the tank? I don't know if it does or not. It might help them, but
would have helped.
You only would have had to win about 4 more games.
That's the thing. Just a couple more relief pitchers would have. Someone not named Trevor Richards and 2 other guys might have helped. But that's the big what if. We don't know. And next thing is just an uncertain future. Different, for whatever we say about the Pole lads, they were the owners for 40 years, and that's you knew what you were getting.
We've only had 2.
I know.
It's
amazing.
Unbelievable. 2 families. It's in 64 years here. Now, the word is out there that people are talking about how the Griffith organization, the Washington Senators, that they go back to the start of the Washington Senators. Well, they did not buy the Washington Senators till 1919. So the 2 families have owned this franchise for 125 years or something, but not 80, whatever, 105 years or something.
Right, 105 years, yeah.
105 years, but not forever. So anyway. And I got to say this, in retrospect, I had the privilege of covering Calvin much closer than I've covered these guys, and it was more fun. More fun.
Everything was more fun back then.
You never knew where it was coming, what you were going to get. It was fantastic. I remember once he told me that he wasn't going to trade Rod Carew to the Yankees unless he got Goober or Gooter. That was Gullett and Guidry, but he wasn't real good with names.
No.
But anyway, it is amazing how they bought the whole franchise. The $44 million, all of that didn't go to the Griffiths. Some of it went to Gabe Murphy, who owned a big hunk of it. I think the Griffiths only got in the mid $35 million or something like that for the franchise in 1984.
It's a pretty good investment, as it turned out.
Yes.
Let's move to the Lynx. They did what they have to do in New York. Just 2 really good games. Liberty are tough. This is going to be a daunting challenge. But that comeback for the ages on late last week, and then they lose Sunday.
Wow. I was in the car at the end. I was at the Wild game, and I was in the car at the end of it. And
Thursday, the
guy doing the national broadcast called it a miracle, and then you look statistically, I guess it was.
It was pretty close.
No other team's ever done it. I guess 15 in the NBA or the WNBA.
Right.
But let me. It's going to be. I think the Lynx are just as good as they are. I think it's a coin flip. And if what's the other co-star? Not Stewart, but Ionescu.
Ionescu, yeah.
Yeah, she was terrible. She didn't do anything yesterday. So if somebody defense started, she took 26 shots on.
She takes a lot of shots
or something, and she didn't take any. They must have told her to stop shooting or something. But it'll be a battle. But you got the home court advantage, and I thought the game yesterday, and I didn't watch all of it, but I thought the fourth quarter was a wrestling match again, man. There was
Yeah,
a
it's very
lot
physical.
of players hitting the floor. That Courtney Williams is crazy. God, she is a ball of fire, isn't she? She
Yes.
plays at 120 miles an hour, and it's funny that Reeve, without directly ripping her, ripped her before Game 5 for playing terrible defense in Game 4 of the last
The
series.
Connecticut series, yeah.
She came out and she was insane, like the first 8 minutes of the of Game 5 here the other night. So she's something. I mean, yeah, somehow they ended up getting two great free agents, Courtney Williams and then Alana
Alana
Smith
Smith, yeah.
gives them a little size inside, and then there was a Bridget Carlton in there that nobody knew existed, right? That
Yep, she's been
she's
great.
been so good this year, and then it's just and McBride's always been good, but I mean it's always been good, but they're not real deep, that's for sure. They got the big kid they got off by trade off the
Hines Allen, yeah.
otherwise they'd really be hurt. They'd be playing six players then. So anyway.
Yeah. No, Collier's just been so good. I mean,
She's great.
she's played herself from like top 10 or top 15 player in the league to top 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's that good.
Yeah,
And
I'm kind of working on a piece for Wednesday on how UConn, UConn, won their first championship here at Target Center in
oh, that's right.
'95. Rebecca Lobo, I'm supposed to talk to her later today, but
good.
we got it in with her because she's married to Russian.
Right.
but and she was the MVP of that. But when you think of where women's basketball is right now, and you had Pat Summitt before that and all that, but what UConn basketball has meant to basketball in this country is unbelievable.
Oh, sure.
I mean, the players running franchises. Now we got UConn players starting a new league with Collier and Stewart.
That's right.
And, I mean, the influence of UConn basketball is phenomenal. They're not the number one team in the country anymore. South Carolina is certainly the number one program in the country, but it's been amazing. I remember being out there in '95 and the animosity of that jackass Jim Calhoun towards the women's basketball team was unbelievable. It just drove him crazy. You could just tell when you were talking about him. He'd be biting his lip. Of course, he had the personality of a wall anyway. So, but Gino was this young, great guy, vibrant guy, and had all the fans talking about how great, and UConn's won the last two national men's titles too.
Yes.
So, right.
Yeah.
So the men's program's been good too, but it's something. And you got Collier and Stewart now who are fantastic. I mean, Stewart's great. She won 4 national titles at UConn. She won them all. Yeah.
Well, she had 7 steals yesterday too. She was everywhere in that game.
She's really good. She is really good, but I'd like to see those two play one-on-one. That'd be fun because Collier's she's more dynamic. Collier just all of a sudden you look and she's got 26 and 11 rebounds and 4 steals. And what would they be without her on the boards, man? Because they don't rebound well at all. And she always ends up she's not that tall, but she always ends up getting 11 or 12 rebounds. So
she's always in the right place.
But Mike, look at, it's taken, when did the WNBA start? 96?
Yeah, something like 95, 96, something like that, I think.
It's taken until right now for the NBA for it to be taken seriously. They've finally expanded the season to 40 games. They stretched it out over. It's not just some summer thing to fill up your arena. Now they're going to a best of 7. They're getting 3 new franchises. Now, the one in Toronto is independently owned. It's not owned by the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have their own arena that they're playing in, and they've sold it out in season tickets already or something. So, I mean, they're adding 3 teams. They're going to go to 16, and they're going to play at least 40. They're up to 40 games now. Yep. They might play a few more, and they've come up with a thing that you can't. Basically, if you don't come back from Europe, you can't play, right?
Yeah.
So So I mean, they're starting to take themselves seriously, and it's not all Caitlin Clark. Okay,
No.
I mean, she's helped, but she's helped individual games, but the fact that it's now a legitimate
Well,
league. You can, we you had to grit your teeth before and say, oh, well, you best. One year they had a best of three final, for goodness sakes.
yes.
I
Well,
mean,
now, I mean, you look at it, and I think the basketball has been, the basketball has always been quality, but you just watch it now. The basketball is really good. It's a
oh yeah,
product that you
way better.
want to
Yeah.
watch. It's very
Yes.
good.
Oh
That's
yeah. It
that's
is.
like the
I
number.
mean,
That's like the number one secret to all this is that it's just really good. It's good. It's
well,
good to
yeah.
watch. It's high level.
Even the first two games of the Sun series, which were wrestling matches, which were absolute bloody combat, was like watching a good old,
It's like a
men's game.
'90s
Like
NBA
watching,
playoff
I'm
series. Yeah.
talking the Pistons. It was.
Yes.
I mean, it was great because it was. It was. And there's. The shooting is. Way better than it used to be too.
Yes.
The 3-pointer, if you give them a look, they're going to make a basket. So,
Yeah.
and a lot more shooters, and it's. I mean, there's no question that it's, and that's the funny thing is, and I was probably guilty as this as anybody. They, for instance, when girls first started playing hockey, you'd go to a game and say, "Oh man, this is terrible." Well, they never played before.
Exactly. Yes.
We
Exactly.
didn't play before. Now
Right.
they've been playing for 3 years. Now they've been playing for a generation or two.
Right. Yep.
And same thing in basketball. It was the mid-70s. You go over and say, "Oh man, this is terrible." Well, yeah, because they hadn't played. Now they've
Right.
played for 50 years, and it's pretty damn good.
Yep. Exactly.
I will say I came to religion late on that issue.
Yeah. So, just in time, some might say.
I had to do my act of confession to Chris Bowles last year, a couple of years ago, on the 50th anniversary. And she says, "I knew all you sexist pigs that had when you get your granddaughters, you'd be all in on it."
That's
like
perfect.
That. She's fantastic talker, man.
Yeah,
unbelievable. She's good. Anyway.
Watch your dreams and savings grow with Royal Credit Union's 4.25% annual percentage yield 12-month certificate. Open now at any Royal office or online at rcu.org/certificate saver. Early withdrawal penalties could reduce earnings and principal. APY accurate as of 2/1/25. Insured by NCUA.
Yeah.
You said you were at the Wild.
I like the Lynx, though. I think they're going to win it.
Well,
I think they're going to win it.
They could. They got something. They got something aside from talent. They got some.
Well, they're feistier than hell, man.
Something that lets you win that game the other day. That's something special. So hopefully, for their sake, they can pull it off. Now, you said you were at the Wild game. I couldn't believe it when I found out you were going to the opener. That just must have been your day, because that is not something you go to willingly usually.
Well, I thought it was a great story because Emerson was back, and then Dean was back, and then the Johnny Gaudreau thing too, which I'd done a little something before on, and they brought out I didn't know they were going to do this, but for just a few minutes, but this Monahan guy who played with him for 9 years in Calgary would basically signed with Columbus on July 1st so he could play with him again, and so there was that angle. And Emerson, we got the jovial Emerson. He was the guy that, which we didn't see much until he actually got fired. And then he did all the media. Was he on with you? He was on with every media group out in the town when he was, he went over to Channel 5 and he went over to Channel 9 and he made the rounds when he got fired. But he was jovial Dean before the game. And I mean, at noon, when they do that little post-skate interview that they do over there. But it was, I thought it was a good story. That's why I was there. But, otherwise you're trying to write it on deadline and getting the same boring quotes that everybody else gets after the game. I love hockey guys are very accessible. They just don't say anything. So
it's true. It's a good point. Yes. Now we're 3 games in and we're already worried about the same things that happened last year. Spurgeon's hurt again. Eck broke his nose. Although it sounds like he's going to play tomorrow. Like They're just kind of like
Eck and Baldy are their two best players. Kaprizov's third, if you ask me. I love Eck and Baldy, but
Faber's pretty good too.
Faber's great too. Yeah, he's amazing. So they actually got a little nucleus going. I think they got a lot of old guys who they probably shouldn't have given the contracts they did. But the Flower, did you see the story about the Flower?
I'm so tired. I'm so tired of the Flower. I'm sorry.
They had my theory is they had the thing about how he's helping the ice crew the other day, surreptitiously helping. Maybe they should consider that to be his full-time job. He couldn't have stopped a watermelon the other day. It was awful. The shootout, they just came by and got the puck up high, and he couldn't get his glove up. What is he doing here?
I said that to
Wallstead in Des Moines.
I said that to Sarah.
We have no need to give him what he needs. 12 wins to be number 2 all time or something.
I thought he got that last year. We did all the. I said that to Sarah the other day on our season preview podcast. It's like we did all the farewell to Flower stories, and now he's back again. What is going on here? They have 3 goalies. They don't need 3 goalies.
Well, supposedly they were going to hopefully Gustafsson, who's played good, right. They were going to be good, and then they could trade him.
Sure.
Well, you can't keep if you want to make the playoffs, you can't run the old man out there. What we saw the other night is going to be him, it was brutal. So it's it's stupid. You got the kid and you got Gustafsson.
He's ready.
Why did he come back?
I don't know. I don't know. They won't let him go. They won't just say, you know what? Thank you for your service. It's time to go. They can't just. They just didn't.
Yeah. I don't. And Guerin and he never played together anywhere, did they, or anything?
No, but they've got the Pittsburgh connection though, right? Because Guerin came from
that's
Pittsburgh.
Right. Yeah, Guerin was there. So. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be. I got to think that he's not going to make it to the middle of the season, no. But Wallsted's going to come and play. What the hell are you doing?
Well, they had to temporarily send Wallstead down.
Well, they're
doing
that same thing they did last year to save $45.
Yes, because they're so close to the cap, they got to send these guys down for a game because they got to call somebody else up. It's just.
Do they ever actually have to get in the car and go to Des Moines, or they just go stand in Invergrove Heights or something? And then come back?
They just stash them in the trainer's room for a day, and then I don't think they have to go there. I think they just can't be with the team. I don't know. It's
ridiculous.
It's silly. I don't know. I'm bored with the whole operation. Wake me up when they are actually able to do something, and maybe by then it might be too late though. Kaprizov might be bored with all of it too and want to go play somewhere else. I don't know. They got to get rid of
Flower though. Hey,
yes.
I forgot when we were doing our setup, the Timberwolves. How about DiVincenzo yelling at Tibbs and yelling in a brawl with Rick Brunson, and I didn't know he was bitter about the trade. He's the X factor man. He's good. He's good, but he's a feisty guy. Well, he was telling us he was fine with the trade, but I'm not sure he was. I think kind of like New York. I don't know.
Well, he was playing with all his Villanova buddies.
Oh yeah,
He was, they had a good thing going. I'm sure it's going to take him a little while. I'm sure, he's a pro though. He's going to, he's going to want to.
Oh yeah.
He'll be fine. But it probably wasn't the greatest thing that was one of the first preseason games. We didn't need all the emotions bubbling over right away.
He's shooting free throws, and all the lip readers got to say, "Hey, thanks for the trade, Tibbs." That's what happens when they let you run the team and stuff like that. So it was, and then Brunson must have been confronting him about that, huh?
It was you don't usually see that in a preseason game. Let's just put it that way. And
how about,
the lip readers were all out and stuff.
How about Jalen Brunson getting knocked down, and then when Edwards went to pick him up, he wouldn't take his hand. He's already competing in the he's a hard-nosed kid, man.
Brunson's he's good.
But Tibbs has got a great starting lineup. There's no doubt about it. But their bench is awful. They don't have any depth at all. So. No. It's going to be, but what did our boy Cat got 16 boards last night? 16
boards. I'm sure he's he's always fired up for those games. We'll see how it is in game 23 of the season.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I think the trade has the potential to be good for both teams, and I think the two times they play this season in the regular season will be there's just all those storylines. Those are gonna be fun games. Those are gonna be tremendous games.
Oh yeah. So I think the guy who really, and this is an exhibition game, and a week before 10 days before the season starts, but Jaden McDaniels looked. I mean, he got those fouls early, but he looked like he has no idea what they're trying to do.
Well,
He looked like he just arrived from Pluto. He was just wandering around. He didn't get nobody. I don't think he touched the ball the time he was on the court. So it's going to take a while to figure out how they're playing, I would think. How are you going to incorporate him? I don't know.
Yeah, well, the Finch always says like he's the barometer for their offense. When he's getting shots and making shots, that means the ball is moving and they're playing the way he wants them to play. So,
well, if he was the barometer last night, they should have gotten beat by 50. So anyway, yeah, it's interesting. It's going to take a while. Everybody wants them to be as good as they were last year right out of the chute, but it's going to take a while because you got to incorporate Randall, and you got 63-year-old Joe Ingles out there throwing them up from all over Luka didn't get off the bench till the fourth quarter. Luka's going to play. Doesn't he have to play? You're short of big men, aren't you? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, someone's
got to get some minutes, doesn't he? When Rudy, it was like last night. They played Rudy a long time, and then he probably won't play again until the season starts. So
yeah, I think that's right.
It was kind of like, okay, we got Rudy looked loose here. Let's let him play, and then we won't play him the next 2 exhibition games or something. But
yeah, I think that's right.
But it's going to be, as I say, it's going to be a while before they figure out what they're doing, I think.
And they had to move their home game against the Nuggets a day up because of the WNBA finals. So that's on the 17th now.
When do they play them?
I think it's the 17th now. I think it's Thursday to avoid the conflict with Game 4.
Well, that's big of them.
Well, I mean, they had to. Obviously, they weren't going to do anything else. But
so when do we play here? When do we play? Wednesday, right? Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, Wednesday, Friday. I think. Yeah, that's the WNBA. Hey, before we go, we won the Rose Bowl, Patrick. We won.
Oh, we did. We did win Rose Bowl. UCLA is terrible offensively, but hey, they pulled it out when they were down 17-10 going into the fourth quarter, right? And they pulled it out. This Brosmar's been better than
he's good.
At clutch time, he's been okay. I wouldn't say he's good, but he's at clutch time he's been pretty good. And you look at the schedule. Maryland's awful. They got a week off, and then they got Maryland coming here. They're brutal. So everybody thought this was a tough schedule. Rutgers got 42-7. Did you see these stats for our guy?
Gallimanis, no.
13 for 34 for a couple of interceptions. He's back and forth.
So he came back to earth once the Big Ten season started? Is that what happened?
Yeah, when they stopped playing Howard. And and teams like that. So, I mean, the schedule is, Wisconsin's getting good. They're starting to roll a little bit. But beyond that, Illinois had to fight to beat Purdue 50-49, so I wouldn't say that's a game to fear either. So,
except they've never beaten Bielema.
Never beaten Bielema, and it's down there, and Bielema loves making fun of Fleck. So, anyway, but yeah, it's they're better than people thought they were. I mean, their defense is pretty good. Defense, they got some players. They got a lot of veteran players on the defense, and the kid, Barrett, he's one of their 5 best players as a freshman.
He's tremendous.
Yeah.
Brosmer's been good, and Parrish has been.
Better start that NIL fund for that kid after this. Ohio State wanted him as a recruit. Think how mad they might want him after watching him play. And they could have used him against Oregon. Did you watch the end of that game?
Yeah.
They screwed it up so bad. Ohio
State.
They didn't know what the hell they were doing at the end.
No.
They didn't. It was not a well run. I mean, all they had to do was get out and kick a field goal, and they were in good position, and then they committed a couple of penalties. But one more thing, one more Big Ten observation.
Yeah.
for Penn State being rated third in the country is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. They're not one of the top 10 teams in the country. They'd finished sixth in the SEC.
Ooh.
They're mediocre as hell just because they're unbeaten. You know, they had to luck out to win a game. They're not terrible, but they're not a top 3 team in the country. It's a joke.
Well, we'll see.
When do we play them? A couple of weeks, right?
Later on, yeah. They've got
right?
Yeah, when the schedule gets tougher at the end of the year, because you got Wisconsin, Penn State, you got a couple of games at the end of the year. But yeah, you're right. The middle of the season, suddenly, you know, when you win that USC game, and then you pull that one out against UCLA, suddenly it looks a little bit better. So we'll see. Flex. The one thing I will say,
USC had to work hard to blow that game to Penn State. It was awful. It was brutal.
One thing you can say about Flex teams over the years is they do tend to get better as the year goes on. Last year was the exception, but yeah, they do tend to get better. So we'll see.
All right, sir. Yes, we will. And, you know, of course, this is what I'm on. This is where you come for PJ praise.
All the insights and all the praise is right here.
I'll have to go over and hang out with him and see what he's got to say this week. Okay.
All right, Patrick. Thank you. Bye-bye.